Well, hello there and welcome back to a new episode of Breaking Boundaries with Naluka. Every time I film these episodes, I realise that my hair is just progressively getting longer compared to the first video I did. So anyway, it seems that is always getting longer, and then my background is always changing because at the moment I'm a digital nomad, if you don't know, and therefore I'm staying in different apartments in different cities. But in this video, actually, I wanted to talk about something a little bit different, and I was wondering, should I record this video or not? Do I have interesting things to say in this video? Will people want to hear about this topic? But I did a poll the other day, actually on my Instagram, and it was the most popular topic that people wanted to listen to. So I thought, you know what? I'm gonna talk about it, and I'm gonna talk about love as a digital nomad. Now, I wanted to share what I thought would happen on my journey, and I suppose then zoom out a little bit and talk about love generally and relationships generally and connections generally as a digital nomad, because the lifestyle is very different, and in some ways it's great for love, and in other ways it's really not. So when I set out to Valencia, which was the first city that I decided to nomad in, I was very much like, you know, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna meet someone, it's gonna be amazing, and that'll be it. Like super, you know, love story-esque. But the thing is, when you are moving from city to city, it is so hard to try and maintain and build and create a relationship. And I think this is why the stats, you know, you can read the stats on digital nomads, you can read, you know, typical age range, typical occupation, all of that. One stat that's very interesting is most digital nomads are single, and I understand why. So in this video, I want to talk a bit about the pros of love as a digital nomad, because there definitely are pros. But I also want to talk about some of the cons and some of the, I suppose, challenges that you can face as a digital nomad if you are looking for a relationship or a connection with someone. So that's what I want to talk about. And I suppose the first thing I want to mention in terms of the pros is there is something so incredible about being able to meet people from all across the world, to meet people who have different backgrounds, different cultures, different stories to tell. And there are unique opportunities and unique experiences you get from dating someone who is from a different country. And I think that there is a lot of personal growth that comes with that. I think there is a lot of learning that comes with that. And I think it just opens your mind in so many ways when you meet people from different cultures. And this, by the way, doesn't have to be relationships. I'm talking about friendships as well, connections that you meet with people. There is something super interesting about it, and it just enriches your life. And I think that is such a positive aspect to this lifestyle, and I feel incredibly grateful for the connections I have had with people, friendship wise, romantically, from different countries and different cultures. And I think there's also something which is definitely a pro if you can make it work, and if you can find someone who is aligned to your lifestyle. I have come across couples, not many, because like I said, most nomads are single, but I have come across couples who are nomading together. They both have location freedom. They both have the ability to work remotely, whether it is in a particular region like Europe, whether it is across the entire world, but they have some form of flexibility and opportunity to work remote. And so together, that can be a really beautiful, blossoming relationship because your lifestyles are so aligned. And I think in that way, again, thinking about the pros, you can meet a lot of like-minded people who do have remote freedom, and they do have some form of freedom in terms of being able to work where they like. And I think that is amazing, because when you have that, it's like, okay, I'm on this journey and I want to do this thing, and hey, you want to do that thing too, and we've joined forces and we're doing it together. And I think, if you don't find that, it can be really hard. Suppose now I want to talk about the cons of love as a digital nomad. Because even if you do both have location freedom, you have to make that work. And, I follow a couple of different couples who are nomads, and it's not so easy, because say one of you wants to go to this country and the other person wants to go to this country, you have to navigate that together. So although I think that it can totally work if two people have location freedom, and definitely I think that's something that would fit me really well at the moment with where I am, it's also not like, oh, that's it and it's all plain sailing. I mean, any relationship is not plain sailing. You don't need to take that from me. But I think even so, you have to navigate, okay, you want to go here? I want to go here. Oh, you want to go here at this time? Oh, you need to be back for work at this time? Navigating that whole thing is not easy. But I think the hardest thing about love as a digital nomad is taking out the fact that there are people who have remote freedom. There are a lot of people who don't. In fact, most people, I mean, it's changing now, but most people don't have full freedom to kind of work where they like. And so then you find yourself in situations where you may meet someone and have an amazing connection with them, but hey, they have to be based in a certain place. And that has happened to me on this journey, and that is really hard. It is really, really hard when you meet someone and you see potential there, and then you leave, or one of you leaves, and the other person needs to stay in that place. And I know people watching this will just be like, well, why don't you just stay there too, and all of that. But I also believe that if something is important to you, you shouldn't sacrifice that purely to be with someone else if the sacrifice you make in your life is going to make you unhappy. Like, I'm a big believer that you have to create the life that you want before you then attract the right person into your life, versus trying to create a life that you're dissatisfied with purely to be with that person. I think that can then lead to resentment later down the line. So that is often hard. And I think there will be other people watching this saying, well, you can do long distance. And of course you can do long distance. And I know I've got a couple of people who immediately spring to mind who have made it work. But the thing with long distance is, firstly, there's a hell of a lot of communication that has to happen. And the second thing is, with long distance, I think long distance really works if you've had enough time together to build and form a bond before you then go your separate ways for a while. I think as a nomad, because you're meeting people quite quickly, and most digital nomads are not staying in places for a very long time. The longest I've stayed in one place is 3 months. And some will say that's quite a long time. But typically, you're not staying in places for a long time. 3 months to really build a connection with someone and then be like, we're going to be long distance now and go into a committed relationship. It can happen, sure. But it's very different to say if you've been with someone for 3 years and then you're like, okay, now you want to go work remotely here, I'll stay here, but we can make this work. So that is definitely something that is a challenge for sure. And I think another aspect is there is also the potential for meeting people who maybe aren't so aligned with what you want in the longer term. Maybe there is a difference in priorities. And by the way, this doesn't have to be just digital nomads. I think that's probably applicable to everyone. But say you meet someone who is from a different culture and they have different wants and needs for the future than you, there may potentially be a clash there, and that can be a challenge. And I think another aspect is, because you're always moving, because you are so wanting to experience different cities, different cultures, different places, you may give up meeting someone because of that. And that's not good either. Like I spoke just a minute ago about how you don't want to sacrifice what you truly want in life because you met someone, and that could potentially lead to resentment later on because you're not happy with your life and what you wanted to do. But equally, the other side of that is you could potentially be letting go of someone that you have a fantastic connection with because you want to experience this life. And I have been in that situation, and it is hard. It's really hard. So why am I talking about the pros and cons of love as a digital nomad? I think because it's something not spoken about enough. I think that there are some conversations on loneliness as a digital nomad that maybe comes onto this topic a little bit, but it's not really spoken about head on. And I know from my own experience and from talking to other people and from being in the nomad community, it can be very hard to find and maintain a relationship. And I think that love is one of the most beautiful things that anyone can experience in their life. And sometimes your lifestyle may not be set up for that. Doesn't mean that it's not going to happen, but it can make it more challenging. And if you are constantly moving around, forming and building a great connection with someone can be very difficult. And I think if you're thinking about becoming a digital nomad, think about the lifestyle and think about how much of a priority is that to you. Because if that is your number one priority in your life, more than anything else, then probably this lifestyle may not match up to that. It could, it definitely could. But this lifestyle, I would say, is more about exploration, seeing and experiencing new cultures, growing as an individual. When I think back to this time last year, how different not just my life was, but I as a person, I think, was in some ways. That is what this lifestyle is for, and it is an incredible chapter of my life that I am very, very grateful for. But of course, sometimes I'm like, you know what? It would be much easier to find someone if I stayed in the same place. And at the same time, I counter that with something I said at the start of this video, how lucky we are as digital nomads to be able to meet so many interesting people across the world, to form such beautiful connections. And I think this is such a nuanced topic. It's not all pros, it's not all cons. There are challenges, but there are also amazing opportunities that you get with this lifestyle when it comes to friendships, connections, relationships with people. So that's really what I wanted to share in this video. I don't think there's much else I wanted to say apart from, if you're thinking about this lifestyle and it keeps talking to you more than anything else, don't let this stop you from doing it. I really do think that you have to do what is going to make you happy in life, and then you attract the right people into your life. And I can testify to that. You really, really do. And the thing with being a digital nomad is often it's not forever. Often it's a chapter of your life that you do for a while. And I think that is just the beautiful thing about life in general, is that you have these different chapters and you have these different experiences, and what is right for you at the time will find you. It sounds so cliche, but I really do believe in that. And I think I personally have become much more confident in that. Rather than trying to force things, just let them be. Let it be, and the right things will come to you at the right time. And whether that is love and a relationship, or whether that is something else, I think being open to it is a really good thing. So those are my thoughts on love as a digital nomad. I would love to know your thoughts. So if you have any comments or reflections on this video, please do comment below, and you can also like and subscribe. And I will see you here next time for another video.